It's time for Hollywood Grump.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hollywood Grump. I am the Grump, and this week I had so much stuff I couldn't fit it into one episode, so I'm bringing you guys a bonus segment absolutely free. That's right, no cost to you. Also, a quick program note that Hollywood Grump will now be premiering on Wednesdays rather than Tuesdays due to some construction going on in my house. It's kind of putting me behind schedule, so make sure you tune in every Wednesday for a new episode. Now please enjoy a special bonus segment of Hollywood Grump. As a very satisfied user of the Panasonic GH5, I like to try to keep up with some of the rumors for new camera releases that are coming out from Panasonic. Those rumor sites, whether they're based in any kind of fact or not, are loaded with wish lists that people want to see in a new camera. And one of the biggest ones they talk about is the Panasonic GH6. When is it going to be released? What features is it going to have? So I wanted to weigh in with my wish list for features of the Panasonic GH6. But before I do, I'm going to say this right now. I don't believe there's going to be a Panasonic GH6. I believe the Panasonic S1H is the Panasonic GH6. So all y'all can hold your breath, but I don't think a GH6 is coming. But who knows, hoping and believing can perform miracles. All that aside, here's my wish list should Panasonic choose to release a GH6. But again, there's not going to be one. In no particular order, I want no crop in any mode. You have the capabilities to use the full width of the sensor at all times. I'm not exactly sure why you keep slamming the brakes on that, but there's really no need anymore to have to crop in any mode. Any frame rate, any resolution, no cropping whatsoever. Number 2, perfect the 4K before you f around with 6K. Nobody needs 6K in a Micro Four Thirds camera. If you desperately want 6K, buy the S1H. Or better yet, wait for the almost certain EVA 2 to come out. But now you're entering a whole new category of camera. You're no longer in the mirrorless or DSLR category. You're up into cinema cameras. But you really have no need for 6K footage. All it does is take up hard drive space. You're not posting anything in 6K, no one's delivering anything in 6K. And yeah, I get it. There's the capability of punching in even further on shots. Or you can do like filmmakers have done for the last 100 years and actually reframe and shoot the shot over again. Now I get it, run and gun shooting. You want to be able to frame it once, shoot it, and then use that shot, pan and scan, push in, zoom, whatever. But 6K is nonsense. All it does is take up space on your hard drive. No editing software can really edit it well unless you're using a shit compression or a lower bit rate. So perfect the 4K footage. No crops of any kind in whatever frame rates we want to shoot in. Do something about the noise, because no matter how hard I try, I'm getting noise in everything. And make an attempt to up the bit rate, which leads me to my next one, 12-bit internal. You're capable. I know you're capable. Other camera companies have sensors capable of 12-bit. Now whether that's internal or external, 12-bit is still an option. And I hear a lot of people talk about how the bit rate's not that important. I use 8-bit all the time and I don't really even use 10-bit, so I don't need it. I don't use an external recorder. I try to do everything internally. Bullshit. Once you use 10-bit footage, you realize the advantage over 8-bit footage. And once you use 12-bit footage, you will absolutely see the advantage over 10-bit footage. Cleaner, better color space, better capabilities for color correction, pushing the color around, doing whatever you want to do with it. Be creative with the color. You can only go so far even with 10-bit footage. So 12-bit should be on your radar, Panasonic. And on the topic of sensors, everyone calm the f down about full frame. Oh, the full frame look, full frame, full frame. It's all nonsense. Yeah, full frame is great, but I've seen some absolutely spectacular, magical stuff shot on Micro Four Thirds cameras. Full frame cameras don't make anything look more cinematic. That's a word that gets thrown around a lot. It doesn't make it look more cinematic. Micro Four Thirds is just a different way of thinking. And as long as you know that going in, you're fine. You can make magnificent work with it. Cameras don't make things look cinematic. Lighting makes things look cinematic. Lenses make things look cinematic. The sensor itself is just a sensor, just a way for the lens and the lighting to get into a digital format. Next up on my list, iris compensation. I know this is a weird one and people aren't really talking about it so much, but if we're sticking with Micro Four Thirds, if you have an f2 lens, once you attach it to a Micro Four Thirds camera, it's not really an f2 anymore. However, your readouts still say that you have an f2 lens attached to the camera. So I'd love Panasonic to put some kind of a compensation or some kind of a conversion to tell you what f-stop you're actually getting when you attach that lens to a Micro Four Thirds. I'm not talking about speed boosters or actually physically affecting how the light is getting to the sensor. Although, come on Panasonic, why not just include a speed booster with your camera package? Much like Canon is doing with their mirrorless series and including an adapter for old EF glass, buyers can choose whether or not they want to buy Nikon mount, EF mount, what have you, and just include that adapter in the package. Even if you add $400 to the price, it's cheaper than everyone going out and buying Metabone speed boosters for almost $700. And I guarantee you have the technology to actually make that even a little bit wider, better than the 0.64. Come on, you have the capability. And to that end, if you do have the capability, a built-in speed booster would be pretty f***ing rad. I can't imagine how many Micro Four Thirds cameras you'd sell if you had an option for some kind of a built-in speed booster. Gotta be possible, it's gotta be possible. Next up on the list, I would like to see the world's first triple native ISO. For argument's sake, let's say it's ISO 400, ISO 1200, and ISO 2500. If you can make dual native ISO work on Micro Four Thirds cameras like the GH5S, you absolutely could figure out a way to do triple native ISO. I think one of the things that everybody struggles with any camera, let alone a Micro Four Thirds camera, is the noise ratio. So if you could find a way to clean up the noise at 3 different settings and give you the best possible picture, man, I'm diving in head first, even though the GH6 will never be released. Stabilization, of course, your stabilization is tremendous. So you can tweak it and improve it a little bit, but stabilization needs to be included. And I don't know what the holdup is with autofocus. I don't personally care, I don't use autofocus all that much, but let's give it up. Let's give it up. I don't know what you're holding out for. Just flat out steal the technology from someone else and put it in the next Panasonic camera. Everyone's doing it, man. Everyone's doing it. All the cool kids have eye autofocus. It's the one thing that holds people back from buying a Panasonic camera. People hate your autofocus system. Again, I couldn't care less. As I've said in previous videos, I don't use autofocus all that much, and when I do, it's just to lock onto something that's not gonna be moving, but a lot of people care about it. A lot of people care about it. I don't know why you're holding out, but let's stop. And finally, SSD capability. Being able to record to an SSD would make this package spectacular. Clearly, the Blackmagic cameras are doing it. A couple of the other camera manufacturers are doing it. SSDs are cheaper, faster, more reliable, and there's really no reason why that functionality isn't available. In fact, I'm not convinced that the functionality isn't available and you just haven't turned it on yet. So if we're waiting on a firmware update or something like that to actually enable that functionality in the camera, let's get on that. It's 2020, we don't need to be recording on little tiny removable, losable media. And yes, a lot of people like me are recording to an external monitor. But if we have the option of recording to an SSD, like a 1 terabyte or even up to a 2 terabyte SSD, man oh man, would that make life great. So as I said, I don't think there's gonna be a GH6, but on the chance there is, and please, prove me wrong Panasonic, release a GH6. I'll be first in line to buy one. Those are the things I'd like to see included in the camera. And on a side note, I'd like to address an issue that's happening online a lot. Whenever anybody buys a new camera and posts up the new camera they're buying, or even thinking about buying, some dickhead will always chime in telling them why they're buying the wrong camera. Well, you should buy a Sony. Well, you should buy the Canon. I don't know why you're not buying the Panasonic. So here's a piece of advice that's really important. The only people that will ever criticize you for the gear you own or are about to own are people that are trying to make themselves comfortable about the shit they own. Meaning they're not 100% sure that they made the right choice, so they're trying to enlist as many people as possible to get on the same system as them. That will somehow validate them that they made the right choice. Only people uncomfortable about their own gear will comment on your gear. That goes for camera bodies, lenses, recorders, tripods, lights, microphones, anything. If someone is 100% confident with the stuff they own, they don't give a shit about the stuff you own. So take that with a grain of salt, but trust me, I'm right. Lastly, I want to thank the people that helped make this show possible. My good friends at The Garden Creative, thanks so much for your support, guys. My good friend Buzz Burbank for lending his golden throat to the project.
Thanks, JR.
The incredibly talented Billy Lincoln for letting me use his music in my videos. And my family.
Go to hell with your shit!
If you dig the show, please like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed Hollywood Grump. Until next time, get the hell out of my house.